Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates. It is weekly horoscope time. I am your astrologer, Stormie Grace, and this week is so interesting in our cosmic sky. First of all, one of the thoughts I have is we've got Mercury coming into the energy of Taurus right as we're coming into the week on the 3rd. So there's this very Venus vibration that is on the table. But we've also got this square happening between Taurus and Pluto in Aquarius. So it's a fixed square. And this fixed square tells a very big story about our lives moving forward. Taurus and Aquarius squaring against one another tells us that truly some things that have been fixed, have been in place, have been ideas are changing, and we have to take action on them to make it happen. But it is actually a lovely week to be allowing that to happen or to take the action to help things play through. So this week it's actually interesting. We're going to walk by day like we always do, but I want you to just consider something this week. The idea that you can absolutely be successful by surrendering while also being practical, taking practical action. So I just kind of want you to be with that and how that shows up for you as we're walking through the week, okay? Now, as always, you can click in the description box down below. There are so many pieces of answers and information available for you, what kind of astrology I do, how to connect and do a reading with me. But also in the description box down below is still the Astrology 101 and 102 classes that you can take at a self-pace. They're digital classes, you and me doing astrology. You can get them each for $25 right now until May, okay? Now, we've also got the digital transit calendar from our friends at Y Skies Collective. It's still available as well, so click down there, and I can't wait for you to be able to kind of watch and follow the cosmic sky just like I do every week. Last piece of information is it's almost time for NORWAC, the big astro convention and conference that we get together to go to in Seattle every year. I hope to see you there, but this year, for the first time ever, it's going to be a hybrid conference. So even if you cannot come in person, this time you've got access to myself and just 20, I believe, other astrologers giving lectures, talking, teaching, bringing astrological wisdom into your life online. You can do it in your jammies, in your living room. So if you want to come to NORWAC, or you want to see NORWAC, or you just even want recordings after NORWAC, click in the description box down below for the link to check out what's going on at NORWAC. And this year I'm really excited. I will be doing a my first keynote speech, my very first one ever at an astro conference. So it's a big year, and Jupiter will be in Taurus at that time. So it's kind of cool. I feel like I'm taking all of you with me because you've supported me in my work and development as I've gotten here. So thank you so much for that. All right, the business is out of the way. Let's head into the week. So first and foremost, we have got Mercury moving into the energy of Taurus right here on the 3rd. Okay. As Mercury moves into Taurus, first of all, Mercury is our planet that's of the mind. It's communication, thinking, decision making, right? And now it gets very earthy. And remember, earth goes down and in. So you're looking for facts, you're looking for details, you're very practical minded. You know, why would I do that? How do I get from A, B, and C with that? It's not so whimsical. This is not where the thinking is. It's just very practical. Now, it can be stubborn thinking as well. You're like, well, you know what? It turns out I'm right. When clearly sometimes you are not right. So in your thinking over this next season, I would ask you to be a little bit flexible. You know, be flexible. What is happening in your thinking? Where can you make room to be doing something or thinking about something or perceiving something in a better way? The other thing I like about the season of Mercury in Taurus is it gives you an opportunity to tighten up your communication. You know, where have you been communicating in a way that's a little bit vague, or it's just, you know, you start a communication, you start a contract, you start a project, but you're not actually like carrying it all the way through, or people are not clear when you've just said something to them. You kind of get the opportunity to tighten that up. And this all starts here on Monday, okay? Now, later in the day, we're going to see that Mercury and Pluto, that square, after Mercury gets nestled into this Tauran energy, we're going to see Mercury square with Pluto, okay? So as they square each other, they create, first of all, the square is our 911. It says, I've got to do something. I need to take an action, right? I need to move. I need to do something. But this is happening in fixed energy. So what you're being asked to do, to change, to challenge, to re-look at under this energy, or where you're being asked to be very practical in finding your facts and your information, will challenge you. It might not be particularly comfortable. But where I think that the Mercury-Pluto square is particularly useful for us is you may be a bit more patient than you have been in a while. Okay? And this is great because Pluto is still Pluto. You have to pay attention on Monday and through the rest of this week for if information is real or is it misrepresented. What is the, not intention, but the motivation behind the information that you are delivering or that is being delivered to you? Is it true? I want you to get deep and to investigate so that as you're communicating, as you're making decisions, as you're taking actions to make these changes or to push these projects forward, you're very clear on the information that you're working with. Because the ability to just have information not be as clear and then you're making a decision or you're acting off of something that is not the accurate information, and that leads to absolutely nothing but problems, right? Nothing but problems, or you misunderstood something. Because remember, we're also going to see Mercury move into pre-retrograde shadow time this week, so it's just getting hinged on gathering information in this Taurus zone. So you may not have all of the facts just yet. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind, my friends. Okay, when we move over to Tuesday, we're just Tuesday, we're only 2 days in. First, we're going to come in and experience some of this void of course moon. So I want you to take some time in the middle of Tuesday, and I want you to just, or Tuesday morning if you can, like right there in that void of course time, to rest, to reset, to give yourself time, meditate, pray, move in whatever ways bring you back to your core, bring you back to center. Ask yourself the question, sit with the universe and say, where do I need clarity? Where do I need to bring culmination or transition to something? And help me make that transition, release and surrender to that transition in my heart so that I make strong, practical decisions that are informed for myself this week, okay? That's really important. Now, what I think is also interesting to invoke this with this particular void of course moon is that because the moon is sitting void of course, but it's in Virgo. Virgo wants things to be the very best that they can be. So truly, what you're going back over, what your earthy emotional life is getting into is this the best for me in the material plane, in my life, in my world, in the things that I can touch? It's tangible. Remember, Mercury and Venus are in Taurus at this time. They're earthy as well. So they're having a very nice conversation with this moon that's in Virgo, also earth. So from the heart to the material plane, you are trying to get into alignment here. And Virgo wants to be of service. It wants to help you be, see, have, and achieve the very best that you can, okay? Now, after our void of course period is done, the moon will move into the energy of Libra. So now we have this, again, signature of some Venus energy. I really feel like that is palpable in the air this week, which is cool when Venus gets involved. But the thing about Venus, you guys, is that Venus wants this harmony, wants this beauty, this ease, this pleasure that goes with it, right? And that is so, gosh, especially with the moon in Libra, it is fantastic for helping relationships, being diplomatic, being balanced, all of these things. It's just this, oh, it's so good, right? It's that. But even when something is Venus and it's really, really good, remember the entree comes with all the sides, y'all. It comes with all the sides. So it's just not always great. We can have our rose-colored glasses on around situations, right? And we've also got a plethora of little planets hanging out over here in Aries. We've got Chiron, we've got Jupiter, we've got the sun. So there's this vibration in us as well, that there is a tension. I want to do me. I mean, I want peace and I want harmony and I want happiness and I want good things, right? I want pleasure. But what am I willing to do Venus, to have this relationship, to think of others, to really let it be good for relationships, versus what I need to do for me also in order to be happy, to be healthy, to be cared for, to be making sure I'm making decisions from my wisdom, that I'm bringing the collective thought in, but this is my wisdom, that this is the universe speaking through my wisdom and experiences to re-inform me of where I need to go next. So it's kind of this interesting vibration to keep in mind, that even though it's delicious and it's Venus, there may be some challenges and some tensions that come with this as well. All in all, though, with the moon here in the energy of Libra, really do think about, look at rebalancing the scales, rebalancing the money, the relationships, the mixture that life has to offer, right? Sometimes it's sweet and sour, and we need them both, right? So you're really looking at some emotional rebalancing at this time, and I think that can be absolutely informative. Okay, now we are going to get to Wednesday over here. Love this. We've got Mercury now in a sextile to Saturn. So as Mercury and Saturn sextile, this brings that practical Mercury and Taurus mind, and it's also earthy. I'm making decisions in my physical plane, right? Like, this is the material plane. I can touch it, I can taste it, I need to be able to live and stand on it. And sextile to this Saturnian energy over here in Pisces, it's like, I have to demonstrate that I don't just have faith in myself. This just isn't an ideal for me. I am about it. I am willing to crystallize my belief. I am willing to walk my talk, essentially, right? And what has to happen there again is, as Mercury and Saturn come together, it almost creates this delicious, this alignment, you guys, of how I see it in my head is like the head and the heart are on the same page here. And this is a really long journey, because think about it. Okay, listen, I don't know about you, but my experience is sometimes I will intellectually know something. I will know it, right? I will know it. And I can't quite get it to drop into the heart space. Like, my head is still winning the conversation, right? And sometimes it can be the other way around, where my intuition is like, well, now hold on a minute. Hold on, just hold 2 seconds, right? Let's take two ticks here. And it is informing me accurately, and my head can't get out of the way. And it's not always that I'm just, so mental. It's that I can't quite bring the connection of the head-heart together just yet. This is that energy, though, where something becomes a little bit clearer. So I'm going to tell you, if in this last 2 weeks there's been a relationship, there's been a financial question, there's been a question of your own worth, your value, how you make money, or how you use your creativity, and you felt like your head and your heart or clarity have not been in alignment, this is your aspect. Wednesday brings your aspect, right? And it's in a very it's in a very material, spiritual way, right? So if you're like, well, I just don't know if I should take this job or I shouldn't take the job, and then, well, you can't really count on the algorithm because they're always listening, right? But then, you think, well, I don't know if I should work for the lighting company, and then all of a sudden all the lights in your house go out, right? Like, I don't know. Pay attention to what is going on, because this is a great energy to bring that in and look for touchable, tangible, it is happening, I don't have to imagine it kind of circumstances to bring your clarity to you. But also, I just want to say, if you need to study, if you need to get down to details on something, if you're working on, you're doing lots of little math formulas or whatever, there's lots of moving parts, lots of things to think about. This brings a lot of focus into that as well. So it's a wonderful day for that, okay? After that, we are going to see the sun come into a conjunction with Chiron. Now, the sun bringing light, heat, life, and vitality. So you're motivated. We're still in Aries season, so we are still motivated, okay? Now, Chiron over here is our wound, but it's also our greatest teacher, right? When I activate the wound, I actually get the healing medicine that comes with it. So Chiron in Aries, for all of us, we have been working on the wounds to the identity. We have been birthing new identities. We've been having creativity and skills and challenges brought up to our surface, and we've needed to learn what exactly to do with those things to bring this this reality to the surface. And in doing that, hopefully what has happened is you've said, you know what, I realize I have this skill to do this particular thing. And as you fearfully walk towards starting to bring that thing into reality, or you start doing it, you start to find that your identity is attracting in your tribe. It's Moon in Libra, attracting in the kind of relationships and people to you who are also like you, right? Like one great example is for me with astrology, especially right now, I just want to dance. I want to dance. I'm a dancer by nature. You guys have known that for a while, but now I'm getting to make reels. I'm getting to do these things. And there was for a time a hesitation of maybe that's not professional enough. Maybe that's not how I should be presenting it. And as the Chiron work has also happened for me on top of my Venus, no less. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? I am singing and dancing and bringing you guys astrology and bringing you into my heart space, but also sharing that portion of my identity with you. And as I do that, our tribe shows up, and we've brought more tribe members into our soulmate clan who are like, oh, the music helped me to connect what you were saying in the week, or it just made my day happy, which made me connect with, oh my gosh, today's the day Mercury's going retrograde, right? So the same thing for you. When you activate the wound, when you do the thing that is scary and you're motivated to do so with the sun here, because remember, Aries energy says, I gotta live, damn it. Like, I am here to live. That's Aries energy, and every single one of us have that in our chart. So where are you, I gotta live, damn it-ing? Because it's really important to activate that. And when you do, you provide a healing to someone else, and then you become whole. Right? By sharing, you receive your healing. By teaching, you receive your healing. And I also just want to remind you that when we're in Aries season and we're talking about the Aries energy, that Aries is the warrior. And we talk a lot about Aries being the warrior, right? But where Aries is the warrior who wounds, Aries is also the healer who has to make the incision, has to make the cut in order to heal. So I want you to be with that for a minute. Be with that. Where are you, the wound and the healing at the same time in your own life, in your community life, whichever house this is activating for you on your chart. I'll tell you personally, for me, we're packing up, we're moving to Spain, we've got a lot going on, and all of this Aries energy lives in my 8th house. And where I am, the wound is the let's get it done. I'm like special forces love over here. But I'm also the healing because my family's going, okay, what do we need to do next? Right? So you can be this mixed bag in how this comes out. Okay, so I just want you to think about those things and let me know in the comment section down below, where are you, the wound and the healing in your own life? Now, as we're looking at this though, we've got this Mercury opposition to the South Node. Okay, so Mercury's traveling through Taurus. This is all well and good, but it's starting to have this opposing conversation with the South Node while coming to conjunction with the North Node. So we really also have this destiny pool that for me, as I look at this week, I'm like, yeah, you got to bring your wound out. You got to move towards where your resources and your values are by taking that action. And that's very Tauran, in a very material way. You're being asked to create, to move, to do, to make a decision on something so that your right team and your right squad can come in, because teamwork makes the dream work, right? Like, you need people to help you get where you're going, but also, you guys, at a very sacred, visceral level, I think it's like what you have to offer is being brought up and called out of you because people need it, right? They need your information, they need your resource, they need your healing. They don't need to suck on you and suck life out of you, but they need your skills, right? And you can turn that into something really useful and profitable for yourself in the material plane. When we get to May, we're going to see Jupiter and Pluto come into a square, and you guys will hear me talking about this. And that is our cosmic indicator that the way we used to live in the old world of doing things will officially be over. So we're going to see that come to a real staunch reality May 16th. So all of these things that are pulling you forward with the relationships and in a material plane right now, you guys, they are really about finding the right squad, finding things where you can make a way for yourself materially as well. And it's not all about the money. right? This is Taurus energy though, so we have to not pretend like it's not. But some people really are successful in the financial capital kind of way, and other people, especially thinking about this Venus call-in, will be successful in social capital, right? They'll have the friends, the friend groups, the networks, things like that. And these are things for you to really be aware of, because we get to May 16th and the doorway to the old way of living, doing things, and how you were able to be on this planet closes. So it's really a big deal, okay? All right, now we are also going to see, when we get to the 5th, a little vibration of some full moon energy. How about that? Okay, so we are going to see the full moon happening at that 16 degrees of Libra. Now, again, I know we've been talking about it in the comment section down below, but we have yet again another lunation at 16 degrees. And we've been having these at 16 degrees really since the end of 2021, but certainly throughout 2022 and 2023. I'm like, is anything happening any place other than 16 degrees, in our charts? So this is telling us that we are being refitted, reshaped. We're having these relationships called in. We're having to reevaluate the 16 degree marks and points of our charts. So grab yours. And specifically, let's start with this lunation. What is happening at 16 degrees of Libra for you? Because the full moon is asking us to end something, acknowledge something, or to make an adjustment. And we're doing it with all the lights on, okay? You can see it. You see these relationships. You have emotional revelations about it's time for me to end something, transition something. Is this the right relationship? Does this relationship, does this partnership, does this balance have integrity in my life? And this is not just romance. It's not romance. It's not just finance, although this is a Venus-ruled energy. But what about you and whatever you call a higher power? What about you and how you talk to, live with, move with yourself, right? All partnerships are in question right now, because we're looking at how consciously you are engaging them and what purpose and goal you have with them. I will tell you, at full moon time, I know the statement is, and I've even said it, and the more I work with lunar phases, I don't like the word purpose when we're dealing with full moon energy, because it actually widens the opposition. And it's like, well, there's a purpose in everything. So I could be going this and this and this and this all day long and all night long. Instead, you guys, I'd like to hand you the word goal. What is the goal of this relationship in your life? And is it on track to be moving towards that goal? That's a way to integrate the opposition, which is what we want to do. You want to see where both sides are right, or what both sides have to offer, and then ask a question about its value, okay? So that's going to be a big old deal. And don't forget, that South Node is going to be moving into Libra after not too long here. So something that you are seeing here, the universe will not leave a hole at whatever you end, acknowledge, or adjust. Instead, you're just course correcting, right? But you may have to challenge your own heart or your own head a little bit in this to see exactly where the rebalancing is needed. That's so much. I feel like that's so Wednesday is busy is basically what I should be saying to you, okay? But we're going to have a break on Thursday. We've got a nice long void of course moon period here. So on Thursday, breathe it all in. Breathe it in, take it home. Maybe do a nice full moon bath, or put some full moon room spritz up, or, take a walk under that full moon light and that full moon energy, whatever it is. Just kind of be with yourself. And, also by being, you may actually get to see where in your own body something is out of balance, right? Because you're maybe spending some full moon time by yourself, or you're making time to be by yourself. And ask yourself, run these relationships through your body. Your body it's impossible for your body to lie, right? We just misinterpret what the body is saying. So say, this is the relationship with my girlfriend, this is the relationship with my boyfriend, and listen to what your body has to say. And you have some time here on Thursday to really be with that and let that process through. Okay, when we get to Friday, we're going to see the moon enter into the energy of Scorpio. Okay, remember, the moon is considered to be in its fall in Scorpio, because it goes way deeper than than the moon really wants to. The moon's like, yes, I need to feel these things, and Scorpio's like, all the way down here. You know what I mean? So you really get that experience. But what's phenomenal about that experience is that you feel it for sure, right? You feel it for sure at a passionate, psychic, intuitive level. you start getting some signals about what's really going on. And this is why I also think that some of that time under the full moon, Wednesday, Thursday, is very good to bring into Friday, because you can check in with your own intuition here. Right now, Scorpio is a fixed moon energy. So it's kind of like, your intuition may be telling you something and your head is like, yeah, but maybe, right? Because you're passionate about it. You're excited. You're like, this is my idea, or you're obsessing about it, or you're jealous, right? Like all of these things are human capabilities and things that we can experience. So you can kind of get stuck in the emotion. But what I think is really useful, if you can do it, is wherever you are hyper fixating in an emotion, whatever it is, elation, happiness, joy, sadness, passion, whatever, or an activity, wherever you're hyper fixating, this is a great time to journal about it. Why are you so hyper fixated? What are you trying to get from it? Where is this a power in your life, right? You're like, I derive power, I derive purpose, you're getting something from what you're doing and what you're hyper fixated on. So journal a little bit about it and let your intuition, your Jiminy Cricket, I know that you're conscious, but let your intuition and your Jiminy Cricket be your guide here, because it's going to unveil a deeper story to you if you let it happen. Now, another place, lots of Venus on the stage this week, right? And this is a Mars Pluto ruled moon. So truly, if you have had a relationship dynamic going on with someone, this is the timing throughout the weekend to say, please reveal to me. Let me contemplate. Universe, show up and guide me in my contemplation. And sometimes what happens is, in order to help you in your contemplation, to help you in your deep revelation, to help you in your healing, a person, place, or thing shows up kind of out of nowhere, or you get information and you're like, oh, they bring you information that hits you in a level of intimacy, you see into me, and they're kind of telling you or showing you or guiding you. I believe too that we can have, I call them uncomfortable soulmates, right? Because they're the soulmates who show up and just piss you off. You are like, I don't even like the way your eyes look, I don't like your hair, your fingertips are weird, whatever it is. You don't like something about them, and they say the one thing, and that one thing sticks with you for 6 weeks, and in the end you're like, dang, you came and made me look at that. Right? So it can be a really interesting dance that comes under here. So whatever it is, trust the passion, trust the intuition. The universe is here and walking with you at that emotional level to guide you. Just ask for the help that you need, but only ask, friend, if you are in fact willing to be shown, because once you ask, once the question's out of the bag, the universe is going to come running, okay? All right, we are also going to see Venus in a sextile to Neptune at this particular time. Mercury moves into pre-retrograde shadow. So there's really this dance happening over here in this Taurus Venus signature, okay? With Venus and Neptune, they're the Bopsy twins. I've told you, like, I love them together, but with the entree comes all the sides, because it can sometimes be just too good. But it's also great for being blissful. You're kind of in the space of the spirit. You're like, let me create, let me have a vision here. Don't harsh my mellow, And then somebody shows up with their psychic, connection with you, their awkward soul mating, and you're like, get out of here. So as this is happening, though, then we see that Mercury step into pre-retrograde shadow time. This is where I want you to start taking note. 5 degrees of Taurus to 15 degrees of Taurus on your chart. This is the story that we're going to work on until May 31st. Okay, so start to take some notes. What shows up for you around relationships, around money, around intimacy, around sex, around creating assets, passive income, skill sets that you have. What's happening for you that's changing, or you're being peaked to in the material plane? I can't stress that enough. in the material plane, because we're going to review this, okay? Man, it's getting so real right now, right? And we're going to see Mercury come into a sextile with Mars also, so you really are thinking practically about what you should be doing. You're thinking practically about what you can be doing. And this is another with the sextile. I feel like the head and the heart are in alignment as we're closing out Friday and getting ready to move to Saturday. Because remember, we've got Mercury here in Taurus, but then to add a little bit of life and make that earthy energy fertile, right, and able to grow, we've got Mars action in Cancer. So bringing that water, bringing that security, bringing that intuition, and Mars is emotionally decisive. Right? Mars is thinking more deeply about, okay, yeah, practically I could do this, but also what are the emotional consequences or the emotional benefits that come with the actions that I'm taking, right? So it's a little bit more tapped in. It's a time, I think, too, with the moon in Scorpio to tap into following your intuition in the actions that you're doing. So surrender to practical action. Right? Again, I can't stress that enough. All right, friends. So then we're going to get to Saturday, take it in, a little bit of breathing, a little bit of moon work going on there. On Sunday, we are going to not only be welcoming in Easter, which is significant if that is one of the festivals or one of the times that you celebrate, right? But it's interesting, the moon's in the energy of Scorpio. It's at Easter, Phoenix rising, right? So in terms of that kind of signification, I think that that's interesting. But we will also see the moon at the tip of the day be in void of course space before it's going to enter into Sagittarius later in the day. And then we can take our emotions, we can take our views, we can take our freedom, maybe the clarity, maybe we've done some healing, out for a new adventure. We can see and we can move and we can feel beyond our horizons where we were really deep in needing to be informed or needing to have the experience in that Scorpio energy. Now we can rise to different horizons because we've got different truths in our emotional backpacks. At the end of the day, we're going to see Venus move on and get into the energy of Gemini. So love, money, pleasure, finances get intellectual. They get busy. We want to talk about them. We want to meet people. It's very social kind of energy, but it is an air energy, right? So air energies, air signs are double signs. So you may find that you are like, well, this and this. I want this and this, or you're like, I don't know. I'm just not sure where I want to do it. I'm not sure what I want to spend my money on. I'm not sure if I want to take that class. So there can be a bit of analysis paralysis that comes with making value judgments and decisions as Venus gets into Gemini, but just slow your roll and do what Gemini does best. Breathe. This is a time, when that little hottie patati comes out of nowhere and wants to start a life with you and you're like, yes, breathe for just a minute. When the refrigerator has gone on sale and this is the day and you have to open your wallet because what if it never is on sale again? Breathe for a minute. Breathe, 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 because you don't want to be making value decisions in an indecisive state, okay? Instead, gather more information, breathe, be with it, be light, be easy, and whatever happens, happens. But if we can just know that there's a better way to use the attractiveness of Venus instead of, purchasing the new whatever when you really didn't need it, instead of, moving Bob in because you guys have been together, since last weekend and now it must be love, like whatever it is, just slow down just a little bit. Use that Mercury still in Taurus for some practical thinking and surrender to the fact too this week, you guys, that by practically thinking and practically listening and making some decisions this week, you can reassure your own your trust in yourself, and you can reassure that only fear makes us make right now decisions. Faith will tell us that there's time. The information's not going to get different. Have a chance to look at it, or maybe even run it by somebody outside of you who has a more objective view of maybe what's going on, okay? You guys, I think it's going to be a good week. I know this is a little bit longer and a little bit off the cuff, so hopefully Hopefully it makes sense. Let me know in the comment section down below, though, how these things are playing out for you, where you're seeing these signatures come up, and where you're finding yourself, right? Where are you finding yourself in these weekly reports where you're like, yeah, I really did need to slow down, or, yep, it was time for me to be about it, Stormy, and with all these Aries planets, like, start to take action to, like, live my best life or move towards what I think is valuable. Where are you finding yourself going, you know what, Stormy, I get it. The old way is going out, and I'm trying to get on board and get ready for this new world that's absolutely here and getting ready to stay for a very, very long time. All right, my loves, I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good week.